Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. It's Expedition 33 launch week, but is it also Oblivion Remake launch week? Rumors are flying, and we've got a lot to talk about on today's episode, but first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he dumped Expedition 33 before they even went on a first date for his old crusty girlfriend who got some new makeup. It's Ryan.
Dang, baby, you look so good right now with that remaster. Come on, come to Papa. I'm going to buy 8 copies of you.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
I love it,
All
bro.
right.
I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to talk about it. And joining us, he's committed to Expedition 33, but sadly, his ice-cold take on Doom the Dark Ages counters any street cred he might have built up. It's John.
I may be making room for both, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
This may be moving Johnny into polygamy territory here.
Yes. There's room for both.
There's
There's room for both. Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So listen, guys, we're just going to start off because we broke out into a heated debate before we actually started this episode. And we just said, you know what? We're saving it for the show. We're airing our dirty laundry like live to everybody else.
Yep.
And so, Ryan, you started this, so I'm going to let you just start it off, buddy.
So what do you got behind you, Josh, there? The lesser
the
blades of chaos?
The
Leviathan
greatest weapons
Axe.
in God of War?
Leviathan Axe is far superior to the Blades of Chaos.
Oh,
that's
my
the
goodness.
take.
There's nothing special. It's an axe. It's an axe like any other axe. And the Blades of Chaos are so iconic. The Blades of Chaos made Kratos. They made God of War, man. They are one of the most iconic weapons in all of gamedom.
Yes. See, John, you're so wise, John.
That's
know.
cool.
Like,
Nostalgia
you're a
doesn't
smart
kill
guy.
enemies.
And I wish you guys would say it more.
Yeah.
How often did you use the Blades of Chaos unless an enemy specified the need for it?
Literally,
in Ragnarok.
as soon as I got the opportunity, I never used the axe again. Like,
Oh,
literally.
that's wild.
Okay, well, all right. So
That's
that's a
wild.
little crazy because the axe has its place.
The
dude.
axe
Bro,
is so good,
listen,
dude.
Listen, take it from Kratos himself, guys, because
Oh,
we
yeah.
had a long conversation one day, okay? And he said, listen, Blades of Chaos, AoE damage. When you're fighting 6 enemies, you need those blades. When you're fighting one dude that needs to get hit really hard in the face, the Leviathan Axe is where it's at. So, yes, there's a place for both, but if we're talking which ones are the better weapons, Blades of Chaos, hands down, dude. You know what they didn't do in God of War 2018, Ryan? They didn't have one of the most epic game moments that exists in any video game ever where Kratos is slowly uncovering the Blades of Chaos again, and the music lifts up and you start just getting chill bumps on your arms because you're like, oh my gosh, he's doing it.
Yeah.
And then he slowly starts wrapping them around his forearms again.
That
They
was
don't
so
do that
good.
with the Leviathan Axe.
Dang it, I'm getting goosebumps now.
Yeah, I know I am too.
Like, just thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Leviathan Axe is freaking sweet.
It's just
dude.
a personal preference. I prefer the Frost and the Leviathan over the Blades of Chaos. I just liked, with my playstyle, but, they're both amazing for sure.
Can we admit, and I'm going to leave this spoiler free for anybody that hasn't played Ragnarok yet, but also if you haven't played Ragnarok,
Do we have
shame
to
on you.
do a spoiler warning for a game that's that old?
I try, but can we admit that the Leviathan Axe and the Blades of Chaos are better and cooler than the other weapon that you get in Ragnarok?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that weapon was
Clearly.
going to be so much cooler. Yeah. That's not to scale.
Yeah.
Not to scale.
Not
everybody.
to scale.
Do we also have to do a spoiler warning that when you beat Mario Brothers level 1 that Koopa or the princess is in another castle?
John.
La, la, la,
Oh
la,
my goodness.
la,
Sorry,
la, la.
everybody. Look, John's still learning. It's like John, would you kindly stop giving spoilers to iconic games?
Sorry.
You know?
We'll move on
Sorry,
to
everybody.
movies. Yeah.
There's
Titanic.
a few Bioshock fans out there that were like, I caught that, would you kindly, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, welcome into the Video Gamers Podcast, everybody, where this is what we do, man. We're friends. We argue over things like the Blades of Chaos versus the Leviathan Axe. 2 out of the 3 of us are smart. The other one's stupid. But no matter what, We love talking video games, and boy, do we have. John's like, wait, is it me? Is it? No, you voted with me, John. So you're the smart one.
Yeah, I'm the FNG. I figured I was the stupid one.
Oh man. Oh boy. So I love when these episodes just start off so stupid. We do have a lot of video game news to talk about today. This is a big week for gaming. Even if some of the rumors aren't true, that something huge might drop this week. So we're going to get into it. But, we do have some reviews to read. We're going to do that at the end of the show for people because we really want to just jump right into the gaming news. But if you want to stick around for some pretty awesome reviews that have gotten left for us, make sure you hang out till the end. All right, Ryan. I thought about talking about Expedition 33 because it does release the day this episode comes out. But you know what? We're a generous bunch around here, and we want to give you the spotlight, Ryan, so that you can talk about the game that I know you're more excited about. So why don't you go ahead and lend credence to the rumor mill? Now, I will say this one thing: we're recording this on Monday the 21st, so this news will have released by the time people are listening to this episode, but it's fun to kind of guess, speculate a little bit, and then listen on Thursday and go, my goodness, we're a bunch of idiots. We didn't get anything right.
Well, that's the usual, so we can just expect that for sure. But Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster, not just like, a little kind of reskin or anything crazy. This is like a full-on Shadow Drop remaster. The announcement is going to be...
They're calling it a remake.
Yeah, not remaster, remake, sorry. Total remake. It's going to be in, I think, Unreal Engine 5, right? It's not going to be in the Skyrim engine?
Yeah.
I believe so. So it's going to be hardcore. Everything's going to be absolutely fantastic. Closing those gates again. Dude, closing those gates again, it's like... It's just, to me... Oblivion is one of the best. It's one of the best games ever made. It's way up there. It's just so dated. It came out, I think, in 2006, something like that. So it's been a long time. It's crazy we're getting that as a remake before Elder Scrolls 6. But here we are. I'll take it. That's fine. Tuesday, the 22nd, 11 p.m. Eastern, I think, is when they're saying the announcement's going to be.
11 a.m.
A.m.
That's
sorry.
really late for people.
Yeah, that's really late. So a.m. Eastern, that's going to be the announcement. It's happened before where Bethesda's kind of shadow dropped some stuff. So maybe they just come out, say, hey, we're releasing this. By the way, you can play right now. Like that would be so awesome. So hopefully, by the time you're listening to this, you can go into Steam and download Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Like that would be the sickest thing ever.
So, all right, Ryan, straight up.
Yeah.
Expedition 33 comes out Thursday.
Oh, I know.
Oblivion Remake comes out Thursday. Which one are you loading up first?
Well, I kind of have to play Expedition 33.
That was a trap, and you just stepped right over it, man. You were like, I see this tripwire right here. I know.
I'm kind of forced to, but that doesn't mean I can't do both. I can't do both, so we've already prepped our children. We've told them, sorry, little ones, you're going to have to fend for yourselves this weekend. Daddy's playing all kinds of video games, so I may have to bounce back and forth between the two. But if I was not forced to play by our good third host, John, many moons ago, to a game that I didn't even know what it was when he's first like, yeah, you're going to play this game. I'm like, what? Expedition 33? What are you talking about? And then we got all the info. It does look really cool. I am excited for both, but man, I'm an Elder Scrolls fanboy, so it's going to be a hard weekend for me.
John, you were kind of looking up in the air while Ryan was giggling and drooling over this possible announcement and release. What are your thoughts? You've played Oblivion, right?
I haven't played Oblivion. So here's my story on all this. When we talk about the age-old debate, sci-fi or fantasy, I love both, but I definitely lean fantasy. I was in the military when Morrowind came out, and it was a breakthrough title, and everybody was talking about it. And for me, I was like, oh my gosh, finally a game that I can like lose my reality in. I was in the Navy, and so I was underway for months at a time without pulling into ports. It was a perfect opportunity to literally dive into something like this. And I played it, and there's just something about it that didn't resonate. That something about that first person melee perspective. I don't know. There was just something about it where it didn't click initially. Now, that being said, if we're talking about a honest to goodness remake where it's on an updated gaming engine and they worked out some of the kinks and dated gaming mechanics, I really want to like it. I really, really, really want to like it. I want to take that dive and again lose myself in an alternate reality. Competing with Claire Obscure, man, there's just a lot of games to play. I'm gonna try and make time for it, but I'm glad it's coming out for fans.
Morrowind was the last Elder Scrolls game that you played?
Yeah, which I think was like.
So you did not play Skyrim either.
Nope. No.
Oh wow.
There are certain games. There's certain games that put me off of a genre like that. That put me off of a whole genre. I've never played any of the Fallout games for the same reason.
You should absolutely give it a try, dude. Now, the reason I say that is Morrowind, brutally hard. No compass, no map. You didn't even have quest markers. You just had to remember that so-and-so, what town did that guy mention? He told me to talk to some dude. What building was it? The hotel, I think is. And then you're wandering on this giant hotel looking for some random dude with no quest marker. You finally find him and you're like, is it you? And he's like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for you. Morrowind, insane issues with quality of life stuff. Oblivion was the true evolution of the Elder Scrolls games. And then Skyrim, I think, took one step forward and also kind of a step back for a lot of people. But you talk about an immersive fantasy world, dude. The Elder Scrolls games are fantastic. And if this one, like you said, improves the quality of life stuff for Oblivion, the leveling system was really wonky in Oblivion.
That's the big thing.
There was just some quality of life stuff. The graphics at this point are really dated. So if it's Unreal Engine 5 and we've got some nice spiffy graphics to go with it and just some other current upgrades, oh my goodness, dude! You are in for
going to the arena,
I didn't realize
baby.
that you hadn't played these,
I'm
so
going
now
to the
I'm kind of
arena.
hyped. Like I'm kind of with Ryan, where I'm like, John, you might be missing something that you didn't know what you were missing, buddy.
Okay, so there's another big game that's still in my backlog. Do I play Oblivion or RDR2?
Oh, RDR2.
Okay, well,
Yeah. I mean, Oblivion, fantastic game.
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
One of the best.
Quite possibly best video game ever made.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one's not really that much of a choice. But so anyway, just to get to the rumors, we will know a lot more information literally tomorrow from the day that we're recording this. I think that they are not going to shadow drop it this week. So if we're making predictions, I think that they are going to announce it. And then I think they're going to say, hey, this is coming out like May 1st to give it a little bit of breathing room. And also to not conflict with Expedition 33. Even though I know Expedition 33 is an indie title, the amount of hype behind that game, not just from us, but a lot of people that I have seen online, is through the roof. And I think Bethesda's not stupid. And so I think they're going to want to say, let's split Expedition 33 and Doom the Dark Ages, and let's put it square at the start of May.
Bro, if they do that, they're freaking cowards, bro.
Dude,
it's Elder
Bethesda.
Scrolls.
It's so here's the thinking though, right? Because a lot of people have said that we're getting this remake to tide everybody over until the Elder Scrolls 6, right? Starfield, I don't want to say that Starfield was a flop because I wouldn't consider it a flop, but I don't think Starfield did for Bethesda what they were hoping Starfield would do for Bethesda.
Yeah.
So I think this is their stopgap to say, listen, we need something to make fans happy. But I think in that they are going to do it in a smart way to say, hey, as cool and fun as it would be to shadow drop this, we don't want to shadow drop this a day or two before Expedition 33 comes out. Let's just split it. I mean, you're talking a week. Legitimately, May 1st is only a week away. And so that to me makes more sense if I was Bethesda, but then again, I'm not. So chances are this thing's already out and people can play it, and we'll see what happens. So.
Fingers crossed. Come on, baby. Come on. One time, dealer.
I know there's so many people. I'm actually really excited. I'm just more excited for Expedition 33
for sure.
Personally.
Yeah.
But I will absolutely be diving into the Oblivion remake, dude. There are no qualms about that whatsoever. And then we're going to have to convince John, but I don't think it would take very much because it's probably a fantastic game, dude.
Yeah, probably not.
All right. I mean, we've already been talking about Expedition 33, guys. Like I said, It released today, the day that people are listening to this episode. I'm looking into my crystal ball. I'm at work right now. I'm supposedly supposed to be focusing on work, but I'm not. I am just imagining myself at home playing Expedition 33, saying hi to my wife and kids as I bolt through the door, and just run to my computer to start loading this thing up. Yeah, hi-bye is basically it. So I thought it would be fun because, listen, at this point, people understand how I feel about the game. They should understand how John feels about the game. And Ryan, they should understand your terrible take on this also. But I thought it would be fun to say, hey, let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's make a prediction for the score on this game. Like, we can do the Steam rating if you want to do it out of the 0 to 100. We can do Metacritic if you want to do that scale. But I think that this game is going to be very, very well received. I am saying it's going to be a 93% on Steam, dude. I think it's going to be that good.
Bro, that's a big score.
I think it's going to be that good.
I was thinking 92, Josh. So I think you and I are aligned on this. Yeah.
You guys are wild.
I don't think you realize, Ryan. I don't think you realize, because you're not a fan of this genre so much. So I think I've been describing it to people as a mix of like Persona meets Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But like with just super incredible art style and over the top like combat animations and graphics and stuff like that. I think you're sleeping on this a little bit, dude.
I don't know, man. That's a high score. Gosh. I was thinking somewhere in like the mid 80s, like 84, 85, something like that.
So worse than Blueprints?
I think it's I don't know. Like, I think it'll still be a good game, but I think everybody that's hyped up about it is just like blindly running into the light, like, oh, give us the good turn-based game, and they just run into it, looking for happiness, which you can't find in a turn-based game, So you're spending all your time sitting around thinking, All
right, let me ask you a question, Ryan.
All right, lay it on. Lay it on me.
Turn-based combat. If this was action combat, you just click your buttons as fast as your little brain wants to click them, right? So, like, would that change your outlook on this? Is it
100%,
literally just that it's the turn-based combat?
With the story, the way it looks in the story and the cinematics, if it was more of an action RPG style where I am in real-time combat and I'm fluid and I'm moving, that would totally change my thought. I may be totally wrong, and I hope I am, that these people have created a game that is amazing, and I'm proven a fool, and I absolutely love it, and it's a good game because you know what, I have to play it either way, so I hope it's good, and I want it to be that. These turn-based games just seem so monotonous and boring to me. I get their strategy, I get there's a planning, but I just hate the stop in combat. So I hope that it's great. I hope that it's amazing.
I think that the active combat stuff is going to satisfy that little part that you hate.
I think so too. I think it'll be
if there's enough of it, it will. Because I can take that. It's the when I think of turn-based, I just think of the old school Final Fantasies where you're just sitting and waiting for your attack.
I get that. So that's a fair. I mean, honestly, like I like to pick on you because I'm super excited about it. But that is a very fair take, dude. Like, as much as I think that Expedition 33 is going to be great for the people that are hoping it's going to be great, I mean, we can say this about any game, but it's not going to be for everybody, plain and simple. I think that there's going to be people that just
if it was more of an action RPG, I wouldn't be
I will say, I think I would not be as hyped, John. I'm with you on that. Like, as cool as it looks, I think I'm in the mood. Yeah. So, all right. So we'll leave that because I'm sure, we're going to be deep diving Expedition 33 as well. So we'll just leave that one there. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and talk about another game that we have not talked about in a while that is also very high up I'm excited for this game list. And that's a game called Arc Raiders. So we'll be right back to talk about that one. All right, guys, we're back. Now, listen. We just got done talking about Marathon, and I may have gone on a small little rant, I think is tirade is what some people said about Marathon and how it is not doing anything new. And I'm a little disappointed in that one. And then, we're talking about this extraction shooter genre, right? This PvEVP extraction shooter genre. And here is this game called Arc Raiders that we have covered on the show a few times, but it's been a while. And what's funny is even John, who, before joining us was a huge fan of the show, said, dude, I don't remember hearing about this game. And so we said, well, dude, check out some of the gameplay. I think Arc Raiders looks fantastic, dude. Where I think Marathon does not look fantastic, I think Arc Raiders does look fantastic. Ryan, we were talking a little bit before we started recording. You kind of said, hey, dude, this game kind of looks a little bit like The Division.
Yeah.
I said, dude, I'm kind of hoping it's got a little bit of that Outriders DNA in it.
Yep,
John said, cool, this game looks pretty good.
It does look really cool. And I don't know why it stood out to me, but like the rendering of like the plants and the foliage look like exceptionally good. But now that I've had a few minutes to reflect. It doesn't, it looks like The Division. It kind of gives me like Starship Troopers meets Horizon a little bit vibes or whatever.
Yeah, the Horizon vibe, I get that.
Like Marathon looks unique to me, man.
The box of crayons does look pretty unique. I
think it's not going to be for everybody, but at least I think they're doing something different.
In the art style? Yeah,
I think so.
It's more the gameplay. I don't know. I listen, as much as I trolled Marathon and I said, listen, Bungie, I expected more from you. I don't even know who's making Arc Raiders at this point. It's the studio that made The Finals, which is a free-to-play shooter, which is actually a really good game. I have higher hopes for Arc Raiders than I do for Marathon. And now to be fair, because I know there's people right now that are saying, wait a minute, they're kind of different games. And yes, I get it. Marathon is Escape from Tarkov. Arc Raiders is more Division-esque, I would say, where, maybe it's just like playing the Division, but being in the dark zone the whole time. It is a PvEVP game, but I would not quantify them as being like the exact same in this case. But for me, what I have seen from Arc Raiders and having a couple buddies to jump into that game with vastly interests me more than Marathon does, and having a couple buddies to jump into Marathon. Maybe it's the sweaty aspect. You can lose your gear in both games.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the art style. Maybe I like the Horizon, high-end graphics with good lighting versus the plasticky crayon-looking Marathon. I don't know. But all I know is that if you put these two games side by side and said, Josh, pick one, for some reason, I'm picking Arc Raiders, man.
I think too, the graphics are superior, but they also are
not
kind
superior. They're different. They're
superior,
superior,
man. But they're bland, is what it is. They're very much.
No, they're not.
They are superior. It's superior graphics.
It's not superior.
No, you can't just make a bunch of funky colors and say like, oh no, this is the same as that. It's like, no, this is just abstract. It's abstract art.
One was made by sixth graders. The other one was made by college graduates.
Get out of here, man.
Oh, I love it.
I can't believe Josh made a comment earlier about what a big fan I was before the show, and I think you're certainly overselling that a bit. My level of fandom is shrinking by the moment.
How dare you dispute my claims for you, Josh?
Your fandom will not be challenged ever.
Dang it. Oh man.
I think that this man, if it's like The Division in the Dark Zone, it was pretty fun. The Division had its issues for sure, but I very much enjoyed that game. It's hard to say, man. I am up in the air on both of these. It's one of those where we've been burned so many times on a lot of these games where we think are great and they are bad, and we think are bad and then they turn out to be great. And so it's hard to know what we're going to get out of these styles of games. I do like the look of Arc Raiders more than Marathon, and I'm a Bungie fanboy, man. I've been a Bungie guy for a long time, so it's that's hard for me to say, but
we'll know a little bit more about Arc Raiders. The whole point of this conversation before like we got way off the rails here is that they are having a public network play test at the end of April, so April 30th through May 4th. You can probably sign up to get in to do this technical test. Now, anybody that's done a technical test, you know you're getting dropped, you're getting kicked, you're going to crash, you're going to do all this stuff. But you do get to get a snippet of the gameplay because they actually want you in there trying to play the game as well. I'm going to sign up for this and hope that I get in because I really want to see what this game feels like and what it's about. But if you're so inclined to give it a shot, that is the kind of the takeaway here is that they are doing a public playtest April 30th through May 4th. So Arc Raiders is up there for me, man. I just want another Outriders, dude. And I know Outriders like flies under the radar for a lot of people, but my goodness, dude, a good shooter looter type experience with your buddies is some of the most fun you can have in gaming, in my opinion. So, all right, guys, let's move on to this one because this is a question to our listeners who are listening right now and to you both. Name a developer that is held in the highest regards by gamers.
Blizzard.
Okay, you're off. You're out. I'm muting your microphone.
I'm kidding.
Bethesda. Oh
no.
Gosh.
All right. I'm gonna step out.
I would say Nintendo or Larian.
Larian Studios for me. CD Projekt Red after they fixed Cyberpunk, I think, is another one where they lost a lot of cred. Rockstar is up there, can do not a whole lot of wrong.
Naughty Dog.
The point being is that there's really not a lot that gamers go, I freaking love this developer, dude. I'm going to buy their games. I trust that they're going to make fun games. And for me and a lot of gamers, Larian Studios, with their success with Baldur's Gate 3 and how they approach making games. I mean, if you remember when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, this is the game that the gaming industry went, yeah, don't expect this kind of game, guys. That's not good for gamers when people have this high of expectations for games. And Larian went, why don't you just make a really good video game and then everybody will be happy and you'll make a ton of money? And then everybody else went, well, that's not realistic.
Yeah.
And it's like, but why? It can be done. So Larian bids farewell to Baldur's Gate 3. What a catchy headline there. Larian is saying goodbye. Goodbye, our beloved Baldur's Gate 3. Goodbye to one of the best role-playing games ever made. Goodbye, all of you phenomenal characters and your turn-based combat that was amazing and a true adaptation of the Dungeons & Dragons rule set that made it into PC gaming. Goodbye.
Just goodbye.
Just goodbye.
Goodbye and good riddance.
How dare you? How dare you, John, and your crazy Baldur's Gate 3 take. But here's the thing. Larian, the gigantic patch 8 released. It came with 45 pages of patch notes. And Larian said, guys, this is the final patch. We are not making any additional content. We are not doing any further patching to this game that brings new content. Now, if there's bugs that need to be fixed, they'll still take care of that. But the creation of content for Baldur's Gate 3 is over. And you kind of go, wait, what? Like, what? What do you mean?
What? A developer? They had like an awesome game and they're not just going to try to milk it dry for every single ounce of money that they
DLCs?
could. Yeah.
Don't you want DLCs, guys?
And skins and everything
John,
you could
you
possibly
played Baldur's
imagine.
Gate 3. You didn't finish it, just like I didn't finish it. But I think we have very different takes on the game because I think it's one of the best role-playing games ever made. And John is like, yeah, I played it because my friends were playing it.
I can respect it for what it was, and clearly a lot of people liked it. And honestly, the thing that I like the most about it is that it duped a lot of people into playing and enjoying Dungeons and Dragons that they might not have otherwise. And I love that. But the thing that I really have a challenge with is, as beautiful and well thought out of the game as the game is that it is a game that relied so much on narrative exposition, where they're telling you things that are happening without showing you these things. And that drives me freaking nuts. So Larian, I know, listens to the show quite often for my notes specifically. More cinematics, show me these things and get off the stupid character's face wincing for 20 minutes gratuitously. I hated that. I absolutely hated it. And I'm sorry to all the fans out there, man. I feel pretty strongly about this one.
It's a very dialogue-heavy game. You're not the only person that I've heard this complaint from, John. So again, this is why we love games, because everybody is entitled to terrible opinions. You know,
I'm striking out. Yeah,
right. So, I mean, but here's the crazy thing to me, right? The reason that we wanted to talk about this story, number one, Larian, one of the best studios in my opinion. Divinity Original Sin 2, one of my favorite games. Then they follow it up with Baldur's Gate 3, which is fantastic. I mean, these guys have done no wrong in my eyes, and I love their mindset. Now, this is the crazy part, because every other game developer in the world would be going, we have our DLC 1 planned for 2026, we have DLC 2 planned for late 2026, we have DLC 3 planned for 2027, and we're going to charge $30 for each one because we know people will pay it because it's Baldur's Gate 3. Larian went, we're done. We made the game. The game is great. Everybody loves it. And now we want to go make something else because we want the freedom to not be tied down to this IP. We want the freedom to follow our passion. And Baldur's Gate 3 was our passion for many, many years. It's no longer our passion. I mean, they've said that. And so we're not going to keep working on it because we have something else we're super passionate about. And I freaking love that, dude. They will not get into this money at all costs mindset. They will not milk Baldur's Gate dry. They want to make a game that they want to make, and I freaking love them for it. I will buy whatever game they make because this is what we want developers to be. We say it all the time. We don't want them just digging as deep into our pockets as they can. And Larian is actually doing it. They are actually saying, we made the game that we wanted to make. You all loved it. We love that for you. Now we're going to do what we want to do and make something different. And I could not support that more.
I would agree with that. Again, despite my very strongly cited opinion on Baldur's Gate 3, I love and respect the studio. Whatever they come out with next, we'll at least get a try for sure.
Yeah. There's just something to be said about like recognizing what you've created and then there being a finalized chapter to it and accepting that and not just trying to milk people for more money, you know, and making $1 million, you know, all these different, like you see it with movies, like, oh, cool, this hit, let's make 5 sequels, you know, they're going to be trash and garbage. And it destroys the series. So like leave Baldur's Gate alone. They made an amazing game. It has its purpose and its time, and then we'll go do something else. You know, I did not play the game. I've heard amazing things and not so amazing things from John, but I recognize and I love what they're doing with this. So that's a thumbs up in my book for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about a developer that a lot of people love. John, you actually mentioned this. You mentioned Nintendo. Now, there's been a lot of Nintendo news, and we've had some strong opinions on Nintendo stuff lately. I mean, the Switch 2 has caused a lot of controversy in the gaming world with the price of the Switch 2 and the price of the games and all that stuff. So, you know, this is something that we try not to beat a dead horse, but if there's valid news that needs to be talked about, there's valid news that needs to be talked about. And I think this one is another chance for me to kick this dead horse.
Man, I can't wait to hear that they lowered prices and then they fixed the controllers.
Of course they lowered prices,
and they fixed
Ryan,
the controllers. Everything's good, right?
They heard the gamer outcry. They listened to our episode where we talked about the Hall effect and how they could have used that on their Joycons, but instead Nintendo loves stick drift, so that, you know, they want more stick drift so that you have to buy more Joycons, guys. Everybody knows this. And so what did Nintendo do? They said, guys, listen, we heard your episode. We love the Video Gamers podcast. We love what you guys are about. We know that you're honest gamers and you always speak the truth. And so we went to our executive board and we talked to them about it. And here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to raise the price of the Joy-Cons, everybody. You know what? If you're burning through them like crazy because the stick drift, why not get more money out of you? Raise the price, people.
Guys.
John shaking his head. The corporate like finance side of John is just squirming right now.
Like, you don't understand.
This makes sense, guys.
It's just such an unfair position, you guys. Like,
I would like to be in an unfair position where I made billions of dollars. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. How many multi-billion-dollar companies go bankrupt all the time, Ryan? It happens all the time. It doesn't matter if your profits have a T in front of them or an M in front of them or a B in front of them. Business is volatile, and companies charge what they need to do to stay in business with a reasonable threat level. And even then, they go,
I don't know about that, man.
Guys,
the problem is you're a businessman that's got a good heart. Not everybody's got a good heart.
Okay, so I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I also happen to have a good heart. But the businesses, in my opinion, live and die based on their merit. Most things in my life live and die based on their merit.
For sure.
So I think that Nintendo happened to time this poorly so that they are the phalanx. They are the what do you call it when you
Vanguard.
Vanguard, thank you. They are the vanguard of this unknown future for the gaming industry. They just happen to time this at a time where there's going to be great economic uncertainty for everybody. Yeah. What you're seeing from Nintendo, you're going to see from everybody else. And is it because they need it? Yes, of course.
Unless it fails.
They need to make some profit. They need to make some profit. I mean, that is a fact of the matter. But a company can't absorb 49% tariffs. You can't. You have to pass that on. They had no way of knowing that. You have to pass it on or you die. That is the way that works. And it is unfortunate that Nintendo is in this position and they are a hardware heavy company. And I hope it works for him, man. But I don't believe this is all corporate greed beyond what would be normal for a company to expect. I think,
John, let me ask you a question. This is a serious question. If you were to make a product and sell a product, what is a good like profit margin? So let's say that I make a glob, right? And I say, hey, this glob cost me $5 to make. Would I sell it? What's a good margin for me to sell that glob at?
I want to give you a little bit of introspection into this, actually, because Sarah and I go on a walk every morning. There's a little tangent here, but I promise this is relevant. Sarah and I go for a 4-mile walk every morning, and halfway through, we stop for my second or third coffee of the day, depending on how early I woke up. But we stop in, grab a coffee, grab a pastry. Today we did the same thing. We've got this great little pastry shop called Prep and Pastry in Gilbert, Arizona. And we were talking to the store manager, Liz. We say hi whenever we go in there. We go, hey, Liz, how was your Easter? And she goes, it was really slow. And we go, why do you think that is? And she was like, well, as near as I can tell, Easter business was down 30 to 40% year over year. Not just in restaurants, but across the board. And I was like, that's interesting. Sarah and I went to go see this great movie, Sinners, yesterday. Easter is usually a pretty heavy cinema day, and it was pretty empty. And we go, okay, that's interesting. There's clearly some pervasive and widespread economic concern that is driving consumer behavior. So what I would say is that it really depends on the industry. It depends on what your threat tolerance is. But for a comparison, pastry industries, restaurant industries charge a 90% gross margin on their products. When you buy a cheeseburger for $5, say, which I know cheeseburgers don't cost $5, they have to be able to make that cheeseburger for 50 cents.
Yeah.
So I think people, we don't have all of I've never seen Nintendo's profit and loss statement. I think that they are charging what they need to do to stay in business.
The thing is, though, with food, food spoils. Food goes bad. They have to have a high profit margin to counteract like their spoilage and other things like that. You can have a game and it can sit on the shelf for 2.5 years and it's still good in 2.5 years.
Oh, that's not true at all, bro.
Well, Nintendo still charges $60 for their games that are 4 years old. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but what we're talking about, this is another great comparison. Tesla's high starting price, low reval, because people don't want to have the hassle of changing the batteries. Its value decreases. New Corvettes from 5 years ago sell for their sticker price or more. And it's because people recognize the value in it. Nintendo does an exceptional job of retaining the integrity of their IP, and that costs money, baby. That costs money.
or manipulation.
My whole point was that Joy-Cons, the Nintendo has not certified this, but there's been many what they call like teardown firms, and they say the cost to manufacture a Joy-Con is about $45. So Nintendo is charging, I'm assuming this is 100% profit because they're selling them for $90. So again, I don't know what the profit margin is.
If it's 45 to manufacture, that's honestly is kind of low. You always want to try to be 3 times cost, like at all possible. Like
again, it depends. It depends greatly on the industry. But like, if what we're saying is that it costs $45 to make a $90 controller, that imputes a 50% gross margin. But then you have to talk about administrative costs. You have to talk about advertising costs. You have to talk about liability costs, insurance.
But
you have to talk about research and the big bogey in the room that we talked about. Boom! Class action lawsuits, guys. That is a big problem. Like,
if only they fix the problem, then that problem would go away.
You know? Who would know? You know. If the controllers just worked, then there wouldn't be lawsuits. Weird.
So I love.
John's gonna like start smoking after this. He's like, I need to
listen to Ryan and I just trash a business. You know what I mean? To be like, hey man, and then John's like, no guys, this all makes sense. This makes sense. And then like Ryan and I are like, so
when the NES came out, I had to do abominable things to those cartridges to make them work. There was blowing and spitting and lots of other things that I will not acknowledge on this podcast to make those things work. And it was terrible. Could Nintendo have retained that terrible obsolescence because they sell more cartridges that way? No, they improved it. The SNES was much better. Xbox, the Xbox 360, that had tons and tons of hours of R&D that went behind it. And backed by what at the time was the biggest company in the world, Microsoft. And they released it. And what did we start seeing? We started seeing the Red Ring of Death, which is a critical hardware failure, and they literally had to replace
the whole worst
thing.
feeling in the world.
But then their next iteration, we didn't understand how they were going to fix it, but they fixed it. They didn't have the same hardware problem.
So wait a minute.
Let's give Nintendo a chance, guys. Let's give them a chance.
Switch came out 8 years ago.
But this is you just mentioned something fantastic. When Xbox 360 released and the Red Ring of Death, they had to fix those. They had to fix them.
I had 2 red rings.
Yeah, and so
I had one.
So, but you said they fixed it in the next iteration of the console. So you're saying that the Switch has Joy-Con drift issues, and Nintendo had the chance to fix it
in the next iteration of the console,
and they didn't fix it.
We don't have that information. We are extrapolating way too much from the news. What we know is they do not have the Hall effect controllers, which would be a way to solve this. Now, again, I will absolutely eat my words. If what happens is Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, and they still have beyond what is the industry norm for drift issues in their thumbsticks and in the Joy-Cons, I will eat my words. I'm just saying right now, we cannot shoot this horse. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I've already shot it, John.
Clearly.
John's always so
buried alive, man. You buried
John
that poor guy alive.
But he's so dang reasonable all the time. I hate it.
That's why I love John's using like logic and business
and reason
and all this against Ryan and I, who are just like, no, man, we just want to trash this.
No, make it work.
Like, what am I supposed to do with these 2 idiots that won't listen to anything?
If I can be wrong about Baldur's Gate, you guys can be wrong about this.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll concede.
That is fair. So, all right, well, listen, everybody. Man, I freaking love just talking video games with you guys, man. This is so much fun. But we are out of time for this episode, so we're going to end it there. Everybody remember, John said he'd eat his words. Ryan and I did not agree to that, but
happily with extra mustard.
So, listen, we hope that you all are diving into Expedition 33 tonight. We hope that you are enjoying the Oblivion remake if it actually did drop in between this episode being recorded and airing. Whatever the case, man, it's a good freaking time to be a gamer.
Reviews.
You were muted, John.
No, I'm not muted. I'm not muted.
We
just have something very, very important to cover.
Very exciting that we were going to read at the end.
Oh, the review.
Yeah, the review.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was to see if everybody was paying attention.
There we
because
go.
we've got some reviews to read.
Good quality check, host.
See, we don't. Yeah. I'm an old dog, man.
We always say we're not professionals.
You can't teach me new tricks and then expect me to remember to read reviews at the end of
Josh,
the episode.
In fairness, I totally forgot to.
I know too. So, hey, a promise is a promise. So thank you for that.
Good job. GG, Ryan.
All right. Well, I will start off with this review because it literally is titled Josh, Read This. This one comes in from Super Cool and I Love Pyro. And it says, "'Twas a time that this audio masterpiece, granted in its infancy, was known by a lesser name, the Multiplayer Gaming Podcast. Over the years, the hosts have changed and the format, rip twig, but it has grown tenfold in listeners and quality. It is now the top podcast for games, and I'm pretty sure most of the one-star reviews are accidental. The hosts are beautiful human beings and have one of the best communities ever in games. It is truly amazing. P.S. Please review the finals. Thank you for your time and attention. Yours truly, Muzz." Muzz? Muzz. Muzz. I'm going to say Muzz. Also, Twig's back, baby. What do you think we're doing right now? Yeah.
You can tell how far behind we are.
Yeah.
And the finals, fantastic game, by the way.
Pyro's a great guy, man. Whenever that guy's on voice chat or the community game nights, man, I love talking to that guy.
I think that's a different Pyro. There's a lot of Pyros in this world, apparently.
Okay.
So.
Well, I love them all.
Yeah. All right, John, and then you've got one for us?
Yeah, I've got one from one of the best named people in our Discord community is Quandale Dingle. And his review is titled "Awesome Podcast with not one, not two, but 3 exclamation points."
Ooh.
And he says, "This is a great podcast to listen to if you're a bored teenager like me. I usually listen to this when I'm going to bed. Not saying you guys are boring. Kind of think he's saying we're boring. But every episode I learn about a new game. Thank you guys. I'm now obsessed with Red Dead Redemption 2, and I've already given up on Dutch if you ask. Crying face, crying face, crying face. Way to go, Quandale. Thanks for the review, buddy."
But Arthur, we have a plan.
Quandale's instincts are spot on, by the way, for spotting a scoundrel. Yeah. All right. Now we're at the end of the episode, boys. But this is a good time to remind people to, if you haven't, please rate the show 5 stars. Please leave us a review. It really does help people, and we're going to continue to read these on the show as a thank you to the people that take the time to do that. If you haven't done so already, make sure you follow us in your podcast app. Click that follow button, that plus button, so you get all of our episodes the day that they release. And if you are so inclined, you can help support this podcast. There is a link in the episode description where you can sign up to support the show. We're going to give you some awesome perks. We're going to give you a shout out on top of that, just as another way of saying thank you. That's going to do it for this one, everybody. This was a fun one, boys. So this is always a good time. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And until next time, happy gaming.
To the gates of oblivion. See ya.
Toodaloo!